In Midtown Manhattan, a shimmering slab of modernism reflects the skyline it helped shape. It's the Lever House, sleek, glassy, seemingly feather-light. You've likely passed it, admired it, maybe even studied it, but odds are you've never heard the name of one of its principal designers, Nathalie de Blois. She helped engineer the curtain wall revolution. She sketched the future on napkins and blueprints, while the men around her got the credit, fired, ignored, erased. If America's skyscrapers had shadows made of injustice, her story would be etched into every pane of glass. This is the forgotten woman who designed America's skylines, and the brutal cost of genius born in the wrong era. A girl with a pencil and a deadline. Nathalie de Blois was just 12 when she decided she'd become an architect. No one around her looked like what she wanted to be. It didn't matter. She breezed through high school drafting classes, graduated top of her class at Columbia in 1944, one of only a handful of women studying architecture at the time, and landed a job just weeks after graduation. By 24, she had joined Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, SOM, a firm already building the future of post-war America. She didn't just enter the boys' club, she redesigned the table they sat at, but talent wasn't enough to protect her. The woman behind the glass wall. In 1952, SOM unveiled the Lever House on Park Avenue, a minimalist marvel of steel and green-tinted glass. It would redefine corporate architecture across the globe. Publicly, it was credited to Gordon Bunshaft. Privately, many of the building's defining innovations came from Nathalie de Blois. She tackled proportions. She resolved design conflicts. She whispered clarity into chaos. When questioned, Bunshaft once quipped, "Yeah, I suppose Nathalie helped." That's like saying Wozniak helped build the first Apple computer. Years later, SOM staff would quietly admit, if you peer through the glass facade of Lever House, you're seeing Nathalie's hand traced in every line. Sexism in the skyline. Despite her brilliance, instead of handshakes, Nathalie got stonewalled. She was repeatedly passed over for lead roles on projects she'd poured herself into. In meetings, men talked over her. Some were threatened by her ideas. Others were just offended that she existed in the room. She was denied official titles, denied raises, denied credit, fired once for offending a male superior's ego. She wasn't even given her dismissal face to face. By then, she'd already helped design the Union Carbide building, the Pepsi Cola headquarters, and the Connecticut General Life Insurance Company campus, all crown jewels of corporate modernism. Still, her name was missing from plaques, speeches, and press releases. The alliance of unsung women. But Nathalie wasn't alone. Throughout the 50s and 60s, a quiet constellation of women architects orbited invisibly around America's biggest projects. She teamed up with female designers when she could, mentored, supported, recruited. She co-founded the Chicago Women in Architecture Coalition in the 1970s, a network built to tear down the very walls she tried to walk through. One story, at a lecture in 1980, a young female student timidly asked Nathalie how she'd survived architecture for so long amidst the sexism. Nathalie just smiled and said, "I didn't survive, I kept building anyway." A career reborn in exile. Struggling to find the opportunity she deserved, Nathalie eventually left SOM and New York. She moved to Houston, worked for other firms, and finally became a professor of architecture at the University of Texas. It wasn't the skyline she dreamed of dominating, but it was her next legacy, shaping minds instead of cities. She taught until her late 60s, giving her students what she never had, a mentor who saw them. For many, that was worth more than any skyscraper. Glass walls never talked for decades. Nathalie was lost to history. Search for Lever House in older books. Her name doesn't appear. Look up the Union Carbide building in Times Square, demolished in 2021, and it's as if she never touched it. Even at SOM, when their own internal awards were given out, Nathalie was rarely mentioned. A ghost among architecture's most public triumphs. She didn't make noise, she made buildings, she made futures. And yet, until recently, she was nearly erased from the field she helped define. A name revealed in 2014, Nathalie de Blois died quietly at the age of 92. The New York Times ran her obituary, and for the first time, in the paper of record, the world learned just how much she had shaped its skyline. Architecture history textbooks began to update. Blogs spread her story. Students whispered, "How did we never hear about her before?" But the real twist, many of her designs, as innovative as the day they were built, still stand, still function, still inspire. While credit faded, the concrete endured. The woman who drew her own blueprint. Here's the paradox. Nathalie de Blois designed the frameworks of modern power, towering metropolis-like glass symbols of business, industry, and ambition. Yet she was denied access to the very same power her buildings held up. She made room for everyone but herself. Her story is a blueprint of invisibility and perseverance. While Gordon Bunshaft built a reputation, Nathalie built a skyline, and now we're finally remembering to look up and say her name. If you've ever walked by a building and felt wonder, only to realize no one taught you who made it, you're not alone. Architecture is full of genius lost to history, so keep asking, who really built this? You might just uncover another Nathalie. Subscribe to Masterworks of Architecture, where the forgotten stories finally get their spotlight.